is good, Defenders, and welcome. Yes, it is a Defenders After Dark edition of One More Sleep, to be sure. Boy, it is 10:21 p.m., the night before a match, and if the night's before a match, if it's the night before a match, you know what time it is. It's time for One More Sleep, your Defenders of the Bank pre-match show. That's right, Ruben, take two on this one. We have power in the Casa de la Scarf, or Casa de la Bufanda, I think is the right way to put it. Mario still no baby. We're on baby watch here for Mario Alvarado. So we'll let you guys know as soon as we know. It'll be black and gold. We know that. But very excited to see what Mario is having. You guys, it has been a day. It has been a whirlwind day. Not only did we lose power here at the Scarf compound, but obviously the announcement of Steve Cherundolo stepping down at the end of the season. Lots more thoughts on that on our episode that will recap the Portland match. But for now, we are going to try to stick to as much Portland Timbers coverage as we can here on One More Sleep. You guys know exactly how we do it, so it's no surprise. And everybody in the chat, thank you guys all so much, not just for hanging out with us right around 5 p.m. tonight when we talked all about the Steve Cherundolo news, but yes, clearly tonight, what wound up being 5+ hours later here on One More Sleep. This should be a fun matchup, not just because it's LAFC against Portland, and that is always a fun matchup, but because we've got two teams that are sitting on 4 wins each after 8 matches, although a couple of draws gives Portland a leg up in the standings against us. We are obviously 4-4-0 coming into this match, scoring 10 goals, allowing 11 for a -1, and we are sitting 7th place in the West. But for Portland, 14 points with their 4 wins and 2 draws to go along with 2 losses, 13 goals and 10 allowed. So they scored a few more than we have allowed 1 fewer than we have. And so they are at a +3 while we are sitting at a -1. And they are currently in 4th place in the Western Conference. And of course, LAFC traveling up to Portland, but it is not a very impacted schedule over the next month or so. We talked about this the last time out. LAFC has at least 6 days in between matches for a 5-week stretch. We played San Jose at home. We get Portland on the road. Then we come back and get St. Louis at home, and then Vancouver on the road before we end with Houston at BMO. So travel only to Portland and Vancouver, and obviously getting 3 teams at home in this 5-week stretch. What that also means is we have no more Open Cup to worry about, not that LAFC ever did, and no more CONCACAF Champions Cup to worry about after the absolute meltdown in Miami. A very frustrating way to crash out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So here we are sitting on MLS regular season match day number 9. And speaking of Inter Miami and crashing out, head coach Phil Neville brings his Portland Timbers into Providence Park. After 9 matches on the season, they are looking much better than they have in years past. And dare I say, they're probably only going to get at least a little more dangerous, if not a little better. You got to remember, when you're facing a guy like Phil Neville, he has been through it all. Maybe not as much as a manager, but even then, I would put Phil Neville's managerial record up above almost anybody's in Major League Soccer. Dare we forget, he led the English women's national team to an undefeated World Cup qualifying before they placed 4th overall in a World Cup. He also got fired by Lionel Messi just a couple of seasons ago. But as a player, we're talking about 59 caps for England. As a left back, how about 500+ matches in the Premier League? And of course, 385 of them with Manchester United. Phil Neville, a Man U legend. 59 matches in the Champions League with Manchester United. But, and I know we said this before about Bruce Arena, so we're hoping to keep it true about Phil Neville, has never beaten LAFC as a manager. One loss with Miami, 0-1-1 last year with Portland. We beat them 3-2. We drew them 2-2. So goals to be had. 9 goals between the two clubs in the 2 matches. But again, Phil Neville has never beaten LAFC. But just like I say with Steve Cherundolo, those coaches don't score goals, don't make saves, don't make decisions out there on the pitch. So I'm not so sure it's Phil Neville's fault. I'm obviously not so sure it's Steve Cherundolo's fault. For all of you out there that are the Dolo out crowd, I mean, you must just be reveling in things tonight. But Portland has only scored 11 of those 13 goals by Portland Timbers players. And really, 7 of those 11 goals have come from 2 players. First and foremost, their leading goal scorer is Anthony. And no, not that Anthony, but a different Anthony. 4 goals, 1 assist on the season for the 23-year-old Brazilian. He has become a weapon up top, has Anthony. Obviously, Portland looking to replace Evander. Evander, who is now with, I believe, FC Cincinnati. I think that's right. The player who came over from FC Cincinnati to help stem the tide of losing Evander is the 20-year-old Venezuelan Kevin Kelsey, a player David Martinez knows plenty about, as they have come up and played together for years now for Venezuela's youth national team. Kevin Kelsey was on FC Cincinnati last year. The kid is just 20 years old, has 3 goals and an assist in much fewer minutes than most players who get their 3 goals and an assist. He is a very strong player up top to watch out for. Anthony with 4 goals, Kevin Kelsey with 3, and that's 7 of the 11 goals scored by Portland Timbers players this season. They only have 5 different goal scorers on the year. But let's also remember that Jonathan Rodriguez, Cabecita, has just returned from injury. He has yet to get it going this season. He's only played 90 minutes. But if you compare Anthony and Kevin Kelsey alongside Cabecita Rodriguez, we are going to be in for a track meet up in Portland. Thank goodness that they are playing on that awful turf up in Providence Park. More on that in a second. And yes, for all of you wondering, the ageless wonder is still there in Portland and playing at a high level. This match will be number 459 for Diego Chara in a Timbers shirt. 434, I think, overall in Major League Soccer. Dude is fast climbing up the top 10 list. In fact, in just a couple of matches or so, he will be 9th all-time in MLS games played, minutes played. I mean, he has been a legend, has Diego Chara. In goal, a bit of a surprise, although I guess not the way he played after the one match he was allowed to start this season. But it is not, and I repeat, not Maxime Crepeau in goal for Portland. He started on opening night, and he gave up 4 goals to Vancouver. Now, maybe first match of the season, you're thinking, man, you gave up 4 goals to lowly Vancouver? I don't know. I've got to switch it up. Go into James Pantemis in goal. I mean, now it doesn't look so bad that he gave up 4 goals to Vancouver. I mean, look, anytime you give up 4 goals, you got to be looking at your keeper, seeing if there's anything that you should be doing. But a player the likes of Maxime Crepeau to be just sitting on the bench in Major League Soccer seems almost criminal. I mean, surely he's a better option than David Ochoa or Thomas Hasal. Can we maybe get Maxime over here? Maybe switch it up, trade one of those guys over. Vancouver now the real deal. So giving up 4 goals to them, I don't know, not so bad for Maxime. Gomez Jr., appreciate you, brother. I definitely do. So it is James Pantemis. And, oh, by the way, goalkeeper James Pantemis is playing like a first-rate goalkeeper in Major League Soccer. He's played 7 matches, started 7 matches in goal for Portland. He's only given up 6 goals, fewer than a goal a game, and not 1, not 2, but 3 clean sheets for James Pantemis in his 7 matches. And again, Portland didn't have to think about playing in CONCACAF Champions Cup in the lead up to their season or in the early parts of their MLS regular season. They've been able to focus on their Major League Soccer schedule. Now, their schedule is going to get a little congested with their U.S. Open Cup run starting now that they're in the 4th round. But they don't care about that right now. They've been able to relax and play in a very lax first 8 matches of their season. So good on them, I guess. But again, not Maxime Crepeau in goal. It is James Pantemis. Of course, Chara is still there. And I do expect to see quite a bit of Cabecita if he is healthy. It is going to be an interesting chess match between Steve Cherundolo and Phil Neville when he maybe brings on Cabecita, if he's not going to get the start, how he uses Anthony and Kevin Kelsey. We know Felipe Mora is still out there doing some things, but none of those players, even though Anthony's got all the goals, even though Kevin Kelsey playing really well, even though I am extremely excited to see Cabecita Rodriguez play, my player to watch would have been maybe Maxime Crepeau if he were getting regular minutes. It will never be Diego Chara. But none of those players are my player to watch. Let's get right into it. My player to watch for Portland is a 24-year-old attacking midfielder, David DaCosta. This is a player who came up through the Lens system in Liga 1. Lafferty, what's up, brother? Chris Lafferty, by the way, was stumbling around the streets of Las Vegas earlier tonight. I actually just saw his text as I went live. Apparently, he did make it into a home of some kind out there in Las Vegas. He is having himself a blast. There is, I guess, some sort of other sporting event going on this weekend in Las Vegas. I don't know. Maybe Philly and Lafferty know a little bit of something about it. But that being said, my player to watch in this one, 24-year-old attacking midfielder David DaCosta. Like I said, been in the Lens system in Liga 1 since he was 12 years old, came to Portland in 2025, and he's started the last 7 matches for them. He's played 90 minutes in all but 1 of those matches, and in 4 out of the 7 matches he has played in, David DaCosta has a goal contribution, 1 goal and 3 assists, and it's those kind of contributions from the midfield when Anthony or Kevin Kelsey or Cabecita aren't having to do it all themselves. It's the midfield that we need to watch out for. So I am going with 24-year-old attacking midfielder David DaCosta, and we're going to keep the Davids up in David Martinez off the injury report, hopefully fully fit. And again, looking across the way and seeing a 20-year-old Kevin Kelsey on the opposite sideline, we're talking about 2 players, both about 20 years old, both trying to catch the idea of the Venezuelan national team, both trying to make something happen so that they can break into Venezuela's senior national team full time. So I think David Martinez is going to use this game to try and show all of the Venezuelan scouts that they absolutely should have David Martinez in their first team selection every single match. Celso, what's up, buddy? How are you? Hope you are good, my friend. So I've got David Martinez for LAFC. I've got David DaCosta for Portland. That being said, what are my keys to the match? Well, first key to the match is simple. We have to teach the youth. What do I mean by that? We have to take advantage of a very, very, very young Portland team. Think about what I just said for a minute. I just used the words young Portland team in a row. Their top 5 field players in terms of minutes played are 21 years old, 23, 24, and a pair of 22-year-olds. And that doesn't include the 20-year-old Kevin Kelsey. So you have 6 players eating up the majority of field minutes under the age of 25. Now, that can really help a team early in the season. It might really hurt a team late in the season because these young kids could get tired. They could get worn down. But every single match that these young kids are playing together, they're getting more confident. But I tell you again, 6 players under the age of 25 getting significant minutes. We talked about Anthony, his 4 goals. But what we also have to talk about with Anthony is his 3 yellow cards already this season. We're talking about a player who might be a little yellow card prone. And if we say that Anthony is yellow card prone with 3, and we already know it's a team with Diego Chara, who already has 2 yellow cards on the season, and Felipe Mora with a pair as well, what about midfielder Jaimer Fori? Talking about a guy with 5 yellow cards in relatively limited minutes. So we've got 5 yellow cards for Fori, 3 yellow cards for Anthony, Chara, and Mora. These guys pick up yellows. But it's one thing to get your first yellow. It's a whole nother thing for LAFC to be able to take advantage. What is good, LAFC? Falcon or Jason in the building? How are you, my friend? But what we absolutely have to do is to make sure that if we get these early yellows, if it's on a player like Anthony or Fori or Chara or Mora, we have to be able to take advantage of that in addition to taking advantage of the youth. So I think between avoiding the turf monster, which means not getting hurt. Anytime we go up to Portland, I worry about these guys getting hurt. Okay? LAFC will need to adjust on turf. I think we will be careful with David Martinez and Jeremy Abobasi, both of whom are coming back from injury. And by the way, Jeremy Abobasi probably really wants to do well against Portland. We got Olivier Giroud, who's still coming back from injury. And yes, I think Olivier Giroud will get some minutes in this match as well. These guys are healthy and looking to find form, but I'd be surprised if David Martinez, Olivier Giroud, or Jeremy Abobasi, I'd be shocked if any of them play more than 60 minutes in this match. It's on turf. They're both recovering, and we have plenty of time to get things right over these next several matches. So who does that put the onus on? That puts the onus on Cengiz Under. That puts the onus on Denis Bouanga. We're going to need some more production for Nathan Ordaz, excuse me. So I think we're going to need a little bit of help as well. And so in my opinion, this is going to be a fun one. The last time we beat Portland, it was by a score of 3-2. The last time we played Portland before that, it was a score of 2-2. We're talking about a team that gives up goals and scores goals against us in the Portland Timbers. But I think LAFC is going to have a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder, a little bit more of a chip, because they are going to look to rally around the news of Steve Cherundolo stepping down at the end of the season. A lot of people are acting like he's already stepped down. You know what? Maybe some of the players in the locker room will feel that same way. But I firmly believe they are going to rally around each other during this long MLS season in which we still have Leagues Cup on the docket. And we still obviously have our vision set on winning the West, vision set on winning another MLS Cup. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens in Portland. And this could be, it could be 3-2. We could come out gangbusters and have it be 5-0. We could have it put on us. Maybe the guys are a little distracted from all this news. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And the one thing that I want to make sure that we are all also talking about as we talk about what I think will be a 3-2 win. I think a bit of news also affected the LAFC family this last week, and we need to make sure that we have this in the back of our mind. Aaron Bupenza, who has come up with Denis Bouanga through the Gabonese ranks and played with him on the Gabonese national team for the last several seasons. Aaron Bupenza tragically losing his life in China, falling from an 11-story apartment building. It's one of Denis Bouanga's good friends. I mean, they've played together on Gabon's national team for years now. Aaron Bupenza was playing for FC Cincinnati just a couple of seasons ago, and apparently, kind of going through some stuff, but really would have liked to have had him on LAFC. I mean, imagine pairing Denis Bouanga up with one of his best friends, a happy Denis Bouanga. Well, unfortunately, Aaron Bupenza losing his life this last week, falling from his apartment building in China. I haven't looked up any more details in the last couple of days, but one of the first things I thought of after thinking, God, that's so incredibly tragic, is that's got to be weighing heavily on the mind of Denis Bouanga. I mean, these guys were friends. These guys were almost family, playing together for so long on the national team. So between the news of Steve Cherundolo, between the news of Aaron Bupenza and all of that, it's going to be an interesting trip to Portland. The nice part is, again, Denis will be around all of the boys in black and gold. I'm sure he has already had a ton of people reach out in support, and he will continue to have that. But it's just a real rough situation for Denis, who already didn't start out the season playing well. I'm not trying to make an excuse for Denis, but one can understand if his head is somewhere else in this match. I think he's going to channel it. I think he's going to score 2, if not 3, and then we're going to see something like him lifting up his shirt or taking something off and seeing Aaron Bupenza's name or face there. I think he's going to play well in the memory of Aaron Bupenza, and I think it's going to be what LAFC needs. I think we win this match 3-2. I think Denis puts us on his back. I think we might see a little bit of help from a player like maybe Ryan Hollingshead. Maybe Artem Smolyakov or Sergi Palencia find that club in the bag that they haven't had to use in quite some time. But I think this is going to be a pivotal moment in LAFC's season. If LAFC heads up to Portland and gets whacked because of all of the different distractions that are going on right now, that could carry over for weeks, strictly because we have about a week in between each of our next 3 and 4 matches. So it's only going to linger for quite some time. So that being said, I think LAFC needs to get out on the front foot early. I think they will. I think this will be a battle. It'll be a battle because it is in Portland. And so that being said, I think LAFC comes out with 3 points on the road. I think it is a resounding 3 points because it is something that LAFC needs in this moment. And I think it will be a hallmark for what we will see from LAFC for the rest of the season. Rallying around each other, making the best of a bad series of situations, and figuring it out on our way to MLS Cup playoffs, to Leagues Cup and a deep run. I'm really looking forward to it. But it is a lot of firepower up top, like Eddie Segura in the chat is saying right now. Cabecita, Kevin Kelsey, Anthony, a lot of things going. It'll be interesting up in Portland, you guys. I have 3-2. I would love to know what all of you think out there in what has been an absolutely crazy day. Thank you all for joining me on this edition of Defenders After Dark, because it was a late one. Thank you all so much. Ruben, my man, coming through. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Head on over to defendersofthebank.com shop. We're all still waiting on news of a baby from Mario Alvarado. As soon as we find out, Mario, let us know. Hit us up directly. And you guys know how we like to end each and every one of our episodes, whether it's One More Sleep, whether it's the recap episodes, or, of course, the Wait What episode that we had today regarding the news of Steve Cherundolo. You know how we like to end them all, you guys. I love you so much. Bye-bye.